Hello, this is Doug from Homes Now, Not Later. Unity Village has a new resident. Since the first time since COVID started, we have now admitted a new resident into Unity Village, and this means that we have reached the point where we're back to normal operations, in which new people can come in, and that everything's running great. Previously we had, after COVID had first started, we had previously kind of agreed to not let any new people in before we knew what was going on, like, back in March and stuff like that. But now we we got the green light from the city a couple of weeks ago to let new people in, and so, or maybe, I don't know if it was a month ago or a little bit more, but now we have let in a new resident. Things are going great, and we basically are back up to normal operations. Things are a little different under COVID, but we're hanging in there and we're doing okay. At Unity Village, nobody's gotten sick. Nobody's got COVID. Part of the new procedure for letting new people in, though, is that we have to actually have new residents that come in get tested for COVID-19 before they can come in, and if they test negative, then they can come in. Now, sure, there's still a little bit of risk, of course, like if you're an asymptomatic carrier and you test as being negative when you have it, but I think that is unlikely, even though it can happen, and there's always a risk. But we're deciding to maintain operations like normal and fill the empty tiny homes we have, and take the risk on that, and I think it's going to be okay. We just are taking the basic precautions to make sure that it is okay. Now, with this situation that everyone is encountering right now in the country and locally even, there's basically going to be more people that are going to end up homeless and unemployed and without a place to stay and stuff like that. And that's what I've thought for a while. I've the virus is bad, but I've always been more worried about what will happen as far as like businesses, economics, people committing suicide because from desperation, stuff like that. And I think that there are a few policies that should be implemented right now in order to prevent things from getting worse. And the time is now. Okay, the city, the county, whoever is willing to listen. Policy number one that would be very helpful: publicly sanctioned encampment sites. So right now, when you're talking about the sweeps, or you're talking about or the cleanups, as the city would like to call them, of homeless camps, if you're talking about new people that are becoming unemployed and recently becoming homeless, rather than pretending the problem doesn't exist, it would be a lot better to have publicly sanctioned encampment sites in which you have a tent encampment that will be upgraded to tiny homes, and of course an agency would manage it. It would be great if anyone managed it, but HomesNOW is willing to actually do this. We currently operate Unity Village down in Fairhaven, where it is a proof of concept. We've been in operation since August of 2019. There hasn't been any police calls. There hasn't been any... it's been a very stable situation. Every single resident that I've met is better off now than when I first met them. It's very low cost. But here's some policies that should be implemented. One, publicly sanctioned encampment sites. The city should do it. The county should do it. Everyone should do it. If you're a church, you should do it too. It's not just about having like an unregulated encampment. You need to make sure that progress is happening and that people are getting good services and stuff. But not doing anything is worse. HomesNOW is willing to set up the first site. We've proven that it works. We can do it again. We know that there's vacant lots out there. There's got to be something that we can do. these policies need to be implemented because it's in the best interest of health, public safety, and environmental impacts. If you have a place to stay, or even if you have a publicly sanctioned tent encampment, you're going to be healthier. You're going to have access to better food. You're going to have access to more infrastructure, services. Even just the regular community who wants to hang out, you're going to have more options. If we leave it like we do now and we don't offer alternative options, you're going to just start to see issues. The main barrier that we encounter in doing more of this is land. If the city or the county or the church or any churches or a private landowner want to allow us to help set up a village on their land, it would start as an encampment, and then as funds came in, we would upgrade everybody to tiny homes. We can get more people off the streets and help improve the situation as HomesNOW. The alternative is to do nothing, or the alternative is to actually focus on the existing sheltering options, which, given the new realities of COVID-19 and quarantining being necessary and stuff, it actually makes less sense than ever to have sheltering options in which people are warehoused in one room and are in close proximity to each other. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of easy things that can be done. HomesNOW isn't really asking for money. We're just asking for a space to allow us to make more progress and house more people. One policy that needs to change right away, and I think the Bellingham City Council can do this, but I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I think they can do this. There is, under the Bellingham Municipal Code, 20.15.050, regarding temporary shelter permits and temporary shelter parameters for the city. Under Section C, it's titled, or under the section titled Frequency and Duration of Temporary Safe Parking Areas, Temporary Tent Encampments, and Temporary Tiny Home Encampments. Under Section C, there is a time limit of 2 years maximum for any temporary shelter. This includes Unity Village, other shelter, and other shelters. Considering the new realities, the City Council needs to vote to increase that time to 5 years or more. This virus isn't going away. I'm not afraid of the virus. I think in some senses it's being overblown, in some senses it's being underestimated. But one thing that's definitely happened from this virus is that the economy has gotten worse, and more people are getting evicted, and people don't realize the reason why it's been somewhat stable up until this point is because there is a lot of aid going out. There's $600 a week extra unemployment benefits going out. There was the $1,200 stimulus checks. There was some aid for businesses to not lay off their workers, but that's mostly coming to an end, and unless the Congress of the United States comes up with some killer deal in a short period of time, most of this aid is going to run out at the end of this month. And so maybe they'll come up with something, but the point is that we're on borrowed time as far as like prosperity goes. And so what we're doing with HomesNOW in Unity Village represents a very low cost, very high bang for buck option to get people off the streets and back to their normal lives with very little overhead, because we don't have any paid staff and we don't take any government money. We're very flexible. We're willing to do what makes sense. We just know that we have a village that's working. We've proven that it can work under a crisis and an emergency, and we want to do more, and we see that the problem is getting worse as far as people out there that are experiencing issues. Again, the City Council should move right away to change BMC 20.15.050 to increase the maximum time that a temporary shelter can operate past 2 years, maybe 5 years. I propose 5 years. Maybe it needs to be more than that, but I'm saying 5 years sounds good to me. And the reason why is because it's going to happen more and more. It's going to be more needed because the economic situation, I don't think, is going to improve. Part of the reason why I think that it's not going to improve, and I'm not saying it's not going to improve forever. Like, I'm just saying in the next few years, you're going to see more and more and more people becoming homeless from no fault of their own, and because the economy has taken a shit. And this involves lockdowns and stuff like that. Like, if you're locked down and you own a restaurant, it's not inconceivable that with very little problems, but you're shut down for a month or two, you won't be able to continue operations and you might go out of business. This is the case for a lot of businesses, and that leads to a lot of unemployment, which will lead to poverty and homelessness, and it's 1 + 1 is 2. We've started to see a few applicants for HomesNOW, people that are applying to live at Unity Village that are a little different than normal. Recently, we've been receiving applications from people that had housing, and after March hit and the lockdown started and COVID-19 started to hit, they lost their job and then got evicted. And so we're seeing, and I think in the next year's point in time count, you're just going to see that the numbers ticked up quite significantly as far as people that became homeless after this situation. And so we're getting a lot more applications like that for HomesNOW. It's kind of sad to see because, you know, there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of hardship. The system isn't really doing enough to help. In fact, sometimes they're not doing enough to just get out of the way and let other people help. At the national level, it doesn't seem to be working out. Globally, a lot of trade, a lot of travel is shut down. So even globally, it's not that great. And so, you know, we can't rely on the president. We can't rely on the national government. You know, we have to do something locally here in Bellingham, in Whatcom County, with what we've got to make sure that more and more people have the housing that they need at low cost. And basically, that's what we offer. We offer emergency housing because there isn't housing available at high standards for everyone, and not everyone can afford it. So you have to come up with ways that they can have it and not actually be able to afford it. And so you got to come up. But it's not that bad if you think about it logically. All you need is 4 walls and a roof and electricity and a basic support system, a basic community to make sure, and a structure to make sure that rules are followed and stuff, so that there's not anything going out of hand. And you can provide housing that's almost on a triage basis, instantly or very quickly, and then while we're waiting for everyone to get housing, permanent housing, it's an option that is better than like being out on the concrete or like out in the woods or whatever. And it saves money because you don't have to have police sweep people and stuff like that. And it just makes sense. And we need to do a lot more of it. And all I'm saying is we're starting to see a bunch of applications that we haven't seen before, that are people that were housed that have lost housing since March because they lost their job and they got evicted somehow. Sure, I know that there's a moratorium on it, but someone could still get kicked out if they didn't have like an official rental agreement or something like that. I just wanted to remind the mayor of Bellingham, Seth Fleetwood, that I did warn him about this back in April. I sent him an email in April 7th. And this is the relevant part of the email. The email is longer, but I'm going to read the relevant part to what's going on right now. I said, Mayor Fleetwood, I think the economic damage from this virus is going to cause a lot more people to become homeless in our community. And our model is low cost, easy to set up, and able to be set up quickly. And also great for quarantining, since people aren't warehoused in one room like a standard shelter, but they have their own unit and can self-quarantine if needed. Unity Village is currently operating very smoothly, and we've been following proper sanitation procedures to prevent the spread of viruses in general. we're willing to be bold. The community needs a few victories right now, and I think that we're doing that. What we're doing will be needed more than ever as this continues to play out and as aid runs out and the economy worsens with more evictions and unemployment. The context of that email was that when COVID hit, we were told that we could stay at our current site and get the extension because it was a COVID emergency. When we were about to move to a new location, we were about to move to the Clean Green site off of Lakeway, and I proposed to the mayor that maybe we could have both sites because more people are going to become unemployed and more people are going to become homeless, and we are trying to provide good housing that is like zero cost pretty much, and maybe you should consider this. And so they ultimately turned us down, but I hope that in the future they might reconsider it. But I'm not holding my breath, and this is just part of what it's like to work with local governments and other organizations, and we just hope that we are going to be allowed to help in the future and do more than what we're currently doing. Because right now we're able to do more than what we're able to do. Like, we have the capacity to do more, but we're kind of contained where we're at, and that's kind of something I'd like to change, and we'd like to be able to branch out and do more. Also, it's not just about COVID either. People are not getting sick as much for a number of reasons. Better food, more relaxing environment, natural quarantining based on the model of sheltering, tiny homes versus, other sheltering options where someone might be in one room. More community support and help, like individual members of the community feel more comfortable coming in and interacting with individual people and helping but I'm not holding my breath on the city. I know I'm glad that they've graciously allowed us to have this one site. I hope that they'll work with us on more sites, but if they don't, and I plan for the idea that they won't, we're trying to work with the county as well, and so I'm going to start writing up some proposals for the county as far as finding another site we might be able to work with to build a second village. Previously, I had spoken to Sat Paul-Sidhu, the Whatcom County executive, about a couple of sites on Northwest Avenue, and I would like to explore these possibilities if they're still available. If you're on the Whatcom County Council or can think of anything that could help us in that direction, I'd really appreciate the help. I'm going to write up a couple proposals, just like proposals we've written for other sites, and just see what happens. And I'm going to try to get the county's support on it and set up a second site, hopefully. HomesNOW has had to adapt a lot since this COVID thing hit. One thing that has happened is that donations are down, so we're not getting as much random donations from people as we were. I would say it's actually as low as 30% or 40% of normal, so significantly lower. We've been able to survive. The HomesNOW has changed in a number of ways that are pretty good. We've become more self-sufficient, so if somehow something really bad happened and zero came in, we would still be able to figure out something and still be able to survive. Obviously we don't have just zero coming in. We do have a lot of people donating, and this wouldn't have happened without you. But we're becoming more and more self-sufficient to where we are able to maintain the village even if donations are lower than normal based on the times we live in right now. And so any donations that are extra, anything that we get that ends up being extra, we're just saving basically toward the next village or toward the next project so that we can house more people. And in that spirit, right, if you have any extra money or there's anything you can do to help, we always need your help. we need donations, even though we're okay. We're about 80% self-sufficient, but we're not 100% there. And any extra money that we bring in will go toward building more villages, and we're going to need to save up money to build more tiny homes and stuff like that. What's been really great for us has been the monthly donations through Patreon and the monthly donations through PayPal. The nice thing about that for us, even if it's a small amount, even if it's $1, even if it's $5, even if it's $10 a month, it's a small amount, but you know what? It adds up. If there's 100 people that donate a small amount, it adds up to being like twice what we need, right? And so we always appreciate the one-time big donations, but the monthly donations have helped us a lot because we've been able to budget a lot better and cover our costs without like wondering if we can cover our costs from month to month and stuff. And so if you have any money to spare and you want to go on our Patreon and you want to go to our PayPal, and even if you want to just do a one-time donation through Facebook, that's okay too. But even if it's a little bit, it adds up. It really helps us budget. And all we're trying to do is house more people and get more villages built and fix problems. This situation has been really. I feel like we're in limbo. I feel like everyone's in limbo. HomesNOW is in limbo, and we're willing to do more. There's people that need help, but we're just kind of asked to put everything on pause while we wait to find out what happens. And it's really especially on the economic front, stuff's gonna get worse, and we have to do stuff ahead of the curve. We have to do stuff before the crisis hits, because even though we're just treading water, and even HomesNOW won't be able to do it all. We're just one organization. We're just saying, let us do it a little bit, because when this wave hits, you're going to get a lot of people that are just unemployed, and you're going to need not just HomesNOW, but you're going to need dozens of organizations or more to work together to help. And so all we're doing right now is trying to get ahead of the curve before the wave hits and be ready for more. It's just like how hospitals have to account for, maybe we're going to need more hospital beds because of a virus, and they account for that, they plan for that, and then when the virus hits, it's not as bad as if they didn't plan for it. And so that's all I'm saying. And I think that one thing we really need you guys to do, if you're a supporter of HomesNOW or you're part of the general community, is that the city council and the county council hold virtual council meetings now, versus having to show up in public at the city hall or whatever. And so if you would be willing to, you can sign into those meetings and actually say something at them just like normal, but you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And the pressure to change something in a better direction is always needed in order for things to happen. And they don't just happen on their own. And one of the most basic things you can do as a volunteer is to speak up and talk about what you'd like the local governments to do. And of course private landowners and stuff too, but the only reason why we kind of hit up the governments is because I have a mission typically to look out for the best interests of the public, and then they have land they might not be using for anything significant, and so it's kind of a natural fit to ask them. A lot of private landowners, they might be using their land for something else privately, and to help somebody like us, they might just be making a sacrifice and yeah, I'll let you do it because I really support you. But there's when it comes to what's in their best interest, it's not necessarily something that a lot of private landowners would just want to do just because out of the kindness of their own heart. And so we hope that we ever encounter that. We hope that we either raise enough money to buy our own land. We hope that we can either work with the county or the city to get more spots to build on. We hope we can get more volunteers to build once we have a spot to build on. And it all adds up, and it's one day at a time, and it's one thing at a time, but there's a lot of areas, and we're ready to go. We're ready to build more and get more people housed. And we realize we're an emergency and a transitional option, but sometimes our option is better than some of the permanent options that are offered to people. So, and it's very cheap and easy to set up, and the standards are high, and it doesn't make the neighborhood worse. Unity Village has been around for almost 1 year now, and there has not been a single police call, and regular members of the community in the local area from Fairhaven come down and visit, and you know what? It's helped the community. It's enhanced the community, and it's a lot better than a parking lot, which is what it was used for before. And you know what? There's all kinds of areas around town and around the county that can be transformed in similar manners to get people back on their feet and improve the standard of living for everyone. This is 1 + 1 = 2 stuff. I don't know why it takes so long. I don't know why we have to fight tooth and nail to help people. But here we are, and I'm trying, and all I can say is join us and try to put pressure on people that can do something about it to do something about it. That's all I can say, and we're doing fine. We're doing good. I'll upload some videos of Unity Village and like the inside, and so people can see it, you know, now as it is now, because people aren't really coming in the gates a lot and stuff, and so because of COVID, and so we'll get that out to you. But really, like, we got a good model here. Like, just do it. Like, just let us do it. Let us make everyone look good, and let us get people off the streets, so that let us say that this community is making progress, and that our leaders here are listening to the community and making improvements and getting experimental. Like, and again, we're not even experimental anymore. We've already run the experiment. It works. You can see that it works. The officials say that it works. It works. So why not do more of it? Why is there a hesitation? That's all I'm saying. So anyway, take it easy. Have a great night, and good luck, and hang in there. I know that this time is shit to some extent, and just hang in there and try to have fun in life, and have a great night. Take it easy.